This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
We are back. Yes, I hate when people say I'm back. So I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say we are back on this President's Day. Happy President's Day. We will get to the topic of presidents and who sounds like a president and who doesn't. In Munich over the weekend, I hope everyone had a great Valentine's Day. I know I did. Normally I don't make a big deal out of Valentine's Day. Just try to get through it. But this one was so much fun for me because I feel like I spent it with some of my favorite people. Yeah, I was going back and forth a little bit with Elon Musk and Ann Coulter and Rob Schneider and lots of big names, big Twitter accounts. I had a tweet, and I'll just brag for a moment. I had a tweet over the weekend, which broke my personal records. I'm going to look at it real quick here. 42 million views and 112,000 likes, including reposts from Elon Musk and his 234 million followers. It was about ICE, our heroic ICE agents in Minneapolis, doing their job, chasing down the worst of the worst, criminals, rapists, murderers. In this case, it was a couple of ICE agents trying to apprehend a guy who raped a child and killed a person. So a murdering rapist, a raping murderer, an illegal alien who murdered someone and raped a child. What do you think happened when ICE moved in on this individual and tried to remove him from the community in Minneapolis? What do you think happened? Yes, one of these miserable offals, these affluent white female liberals, one of these Karens, these wretched creatures who spend their time harassing heroic ICE agents who are trying to get real bad people out of their neighborhoods. I know we've seen a lot of these videos. They're incredible. I can't stop watching them, to be honest with you. These people are the worst. You know what? The worst of the worst, I understand, are murderers and rapists. But kind of in a whole separate category, you have these really, really rotten people, these horrible people, mostly women, mostly ugly white women. And in this case, we have a woman named Olivia Jensen. She's an activist. She harasses ICE with her free time. Another, Renee Good or another one of these crazy people who are spending their time and energy protecting rapists. They're trying to make the city, the community, the country safer for women, and women are trying to stop them. That's where we are right now in this incredible, insane showdown between the forces of good and the forces of evil. And this woman, Olivia Jensen, represents evil. That's what this is, evil. Watch this exchange. I posted it, and again, it went pretty viral, I must say. But it's just mind-boggling. Watch the ICE agent as he tries to explain to this awful woman what they're doing, who they're going after, and listen carefully to her response. Go ahead, let's play it.
This isn't where I live. That's fine. But this isn't where I live.
Do your parents still pay all your bills?
No.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
If my parents paid all my bills,
We just want to make sure you got home.
this isn't where I live.
It's okay, Olivia. We appreciate it.
You can go talk to them.
Well,
This isn't where I live.
So if this is not where your vehicle's registered, you might want to look that up with their state.
It is, buddy. My address is correct on my ID and where my car is registered.
Okay.
Good try, though.
All right. Thanks, Olivia.
Do you feel strong or what?
We're good. Have a great day, okay?
I'll keep following you, okay?
Oh, no, she doesn't care. It's all right. No, come on. She doesn't care? She doesn't care. They never do.
How does it feel to be a race traitor?
You know, we were trying to get a child molester, right?
No, you weren't.
Yes, we were.
How would you know?
Because it was a woman you talked to.
His wife.
And then his plate came back as murder.
Also, I just want to say, calling someone a race traitor.
But you guys don't care.
I hope you realize that is the most racist thing you can say as a white woman.
Of course,
and
it
just,
is.
so you know, this isn't a good look for you.
You think I care about my look?
No, oh no, trust me.
When you guys
it is evident by how you look, you don't care. We get that. Trust me. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying this, trying to be a social warrior. If you actually cared, you probably would care about the child who got raped and also the person who got murdered by the person that we were looking for. But see, you don't care.
No, I don't care because you guys tried.
Thank you.
No, I don't care. There you go. If you cared, you would care about the child who got raped and the person who got murdered. And what does this activist say? I don't care. That is, as I tweeted, that is perfect. That is a 1 minute encapsulation of our great divide, our showdown between these two sides. And I can't help but think this thing's going to resonate. People are going to wake up and understand that it's one big psyop from the Democrats saying these are Gestapo and Nazis, and they're arresting American citizens, and they're they're using a 5-year-old child for bait. That was a lie. We've debunked it. You know, a couple of weeks ago, a father abandoned his 5-year-old son, Liam. ICE agents took the child, comforted him, took him to McDonald's, tried to get the mother to take him in her home. She didn't. So they took custody of this abandoned child. And of all people, former President Barack Obama, on a podcast over the weekend, and we'll get to that, repeated the lie, said that ICE is using a 5-year-old child as bait. These people are shameless liars. That's what they are. ICE is doing what we want them to do. They're doing what they've been ordered to do, enforce the law as written by Congress, as signed by a president. So there's immigration law, and these guys are enforcing it the same way they did under Obama and under Trump and under Bush and under every other president. This is the first time there's been this kind of resistance, and it's all a lie. These people are disgusting. They're doing this for one reason. They hate Trump. That's all. They're doing this to help Democrats. And I guess it's working. In the polls show more people are resistant to this. But here you have an example. I'm not sure if, the evening news, the nightly news on the networks or CNN or MSNBC showed this, but it's a couple of guys just trying to do their job and get a child molester. And you have this disgusting woman. Throw up her picture. I want people to see her because she's got the face piercings. She's a homely white woman and who lives with her parents, driving around in her car on a cold winter's day in Minneapolis, trying to stop guys from doing what we elected them to do. There she is. Tell me you didn't know exactly what she looked like. Here you go. You got the counts of her face piercings. Look at that face. We have a real problem in this country. Of course, you got the nose ring. Got to have a nose ring. We have a real problem with people like this, just brainwashed sheep, just lemmings listening to AOC and Ayanna Pressley and Jamie Raskin telling them that, oh, those ICE agents, they're making it less safe. That's what you keep hearing. That's what Tim Walz tells you. How are they making it less safe? Could you answer that? How? How does ICE make a community less safe when they're arresting child molesters and murderers and sending them back where they came from? I hope people wake up. I hope people start to understand what we're dealing with. We're dealing with this disinformation campaign that somehow ICE is breaking the law, crossing the line. I mean, yes, they killed 2 people in Minneapolis. Both of them were obstructing. Both of them were resisting. And both of them have only themselves to blame. And, they can make martyrs out of them, and they will. But we're talking about thousands, hell, we're talking about millions of people who were led into this country by the last president. all of this, all of what you're seeing every day on the streets of Minneapolis and so many other cities is the fault of Joe Biden, is the fault of the Biden-Harris administration. They let in 15 million. It's a big job to get them all out. And are mistakes made? Yes, of course. But those mistakes are Joe Biden's fault. There would be no mistakes. Renee Good would be alive today. Alex Preddy be alive today. Maybe this hideous woman would be at work today if Joe Biden didn't let 15 million criminal illegal aliens into the country, forcing the next administration to clean up the mess. It's just maddening. But I posted this and it went viral, and everybody kind of got a good look at the attitude, the mindset of the resistance. Do you care about the child who was raped? Do you care about the person who was murdered? No, I don't care, she says. And that's true. I'll give her credit for honesty. She doesn't care. They don't care about children. You don't ever hear any of these Democrats, all these, John Ossoff in Georgia, senator, who's running for re-election. He never mentions Laken Riley. He'll mention Alex Preddy and Renee Good, but he won't even mention a young woman in his own state, raped and murdered when out for a jog. They have no soul. They just have no the great lie is that they're the compassionate ones. They're the ones with heart and empathy. If you don't care about a guy who raped a kid and you're trying to stop the people looking for him, you have no soul. You have no heart. You have no empathy. I think we're learning that, and we're waking up, I hope, because it's time. It's time we wake up. By the way, the other little poster child for ICE overreach over the weekend or over the last week, if you haven't seen it, was the Irish guy from the Boston area who was grabbed. All he did was overstay his visa for 16 years. He was running a construction company. He was just living here, trying to earn a living. His name is Seamus Culleton. And you heard the sob stories. You saw pictures of him, white guy with a Patriots jersey. And everyone said, geez, this is so cruel. They did interviews with him when he was in the detention center saying he's in hell. The food is disgusting. He can't eat. He's being tortured. Two things. He was offered the chance to go back to Ireland where he lived, where he is a legal resident. He refused. And then we find out, I don't think this was, the media was hoping, at least in this country, we'd find out that Seamus Culleton was facing drug charges in Ireland, and he left Ireland 16 years ago. When he goes back, he's going to have to face drug charges. And the Irish Daily Mail reported over the weekend that he abandoned two kids. He had twin daughters. He left them, never paid child support. They reached out to him. He ignored them. He abandoned his kids. He ran from drug charges. He came to the United States illegally and overstayed a visa. And you know what? You know what the difference between Republicans and Democrats? We don't care that he's white. He's Irish. He was working in the construction. He's got to go. That's the deal. They all have to go. We don't look at it like Ayanna Pressley or AOC and say, whoa, he's white. Yeah. They told us they just were pulling over brown and black people, disappearing brown and black. They were racially profiling. Well, no, they weren't. They're kicking out illegal aliens, criminals like this guy. Good riddance to him. He can go back and see his kids for the first time in 16 years. Another scum, just another rotten individual that we don't want in this country. And I didn't hear one Republican, one conservative defend this clown, Seamus Culleton, because he's white. He's got to go. They all got to go. All right. We got so much to get to on this President's Day. Yes, we watched auditions for president or vice president over the weekend in Munich. And the contrast was, let's just say, pretty stark, pretty dramatic. Marco Rubio at the Munich Security Conference gave a speech. It is 21 minutes long. We'll play some of it, but I highly recommend you listen to all of it. It was incredible. It was presidential. It was powerful. I don't even think he had a teleprompter. He had notes. But man, this guy is really good. And it was stunning on many levels. But when you watch it, when you hear it, understand something. This couldn't happen 10 years ago, 5 years ago. His predecessor was Anthony Blinken, an absolute spineless invertebrate, a weakling, a wimp who couldn't do this. Aside from the fact that he wasn't smart enough or articulate enough, he didn't believe it. What Marco Rubio did was deliver an absolute spectacular speech and sort of give two big middle fingers to all the globalists and all the climate change hoaxsters and all the Euro weenies, all the open borders fools. And he called them out, and he did it in just an extremely presidential way. And then we have the rebuttal from another person who just might be on the ticket in 2 years, AOC. You just have to hear AOC to understand just how stupid this person is. She's as bad as Kamala. She is as bad, as inarticulate, as dumb as Kamala. And I'm just hoping that the two tickets in 2028, you got Vance, Rubio on one side, and Newsom, AOC on the other. If that happens, these two people are going to debate Marco Rubio versus AOC. We'll get to that and much more. But first,
Excuse me.
a well-built wardrobe is about pieces that work together and hold up over time. That's what Quince does best. Premium materials, thoughtful design, and everyday staples that feel easy to wear and easy to rely on, even as the weather shifts. Quince has the everyday essentials I love, with quality that lasts. Organic cotton sweaters, polos for every occasion, lighter jackets that keep you warm in the changing seasons. The list goes on. Quince works directly with top factories and cuts out the middleman, so you're not paying brand markup, just quality clothing. Everything is built to hold up to daily wear and still look good season after season. Plus, they only partner with factories that meet rigorous standards for craftsmanship and ethical production. I got a couple of Quince shirts, and I'm telling you, I love them. They were inexpensive, and I'm a cheap bastard, so that matters. And they've held up really well after a few washes, good as new. So refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/Gerry for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/Gerry. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Gerry. Man, when I started pushing 60, it started pushing back. Some just fell off. Not dramatic. Things just got a little harder. Workouts didn't hit the same. I'd crash at 2 or 3 p.m. Same diet, same routine, but softer around the middle. That's not supposed to happen. So yeah, I did what a lot of guys do. I went down the Google rabbit hole. Low T kept coming up. Doctors are quick to suggest TRT, weekly shots, dependency, thousands of dollars a year. Not for me. And once you dig into it, what does it actually mean long term? That's a commitment. It's a little too much. That's when I found Mars Men. And this is what I'm taking now, and I'm genuinely pleased with it. It's a natural testosterone stack designed to support your body's own production instead of replacing it. Real ingredients, no needles, no synthetics. For me, it's steady energy all day, stronger lifts, clearer focus. And it's not a caffeine spike. It just feels consistent. I honestly feel better going into 2026 than I have in years. It's made in the U.S., third-party tested, 90-day money-back guarantee. Thousands of guys are swearing by it. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and free gifts at mengotomars.com. It's a perfect way to kick off the new year. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support this show and tell them we sent you. I've said this before. I will say it again. I have waited my whole life for this. I waited for a Republican who could go on the world stage and articulate conservative ideals, America first principles, and do it well, do it powerfully, do it without stumbling or stammering. I mean, we've lived through, George Bush Sr., George Bush Jr., and Mike Pence and Dan Quayle and many, many conservatives. And they, sometimes they had good ideas. They just couldn't articulate them like Marco Rubio. And right now, Trump 2.0, you have a really strong cabinet and some really great voices for the Trump agenda. None better than Marco Rubio. It's hard to believe little Marco used to be a Trump adversary. Now he is his strongest advocate on the world stage. And again, the last guy, a year and a half ago, this job belonged to Anthony Blinken, who was as weak and as wishy-washy as anyone we've ever seen in this job. Well, this is, obviously, going from Biden to Trump was a big upgrade. Going from Kamala to JD, huge upgrade. There has never been an upgrade like this. Blinken to Rubio. As I said on Twitter, it's like going from Olivia Jensen to Olivia Culpo. It is a big step up. So he goes, a year ago was JD, who did a great job calling out the censors in Europe. It's pissed off a lot of people, all the right people. This time it's Marco. He gave, again, a 21-minute speech, and it was just, it was spectacular. I can't recommend it enough. Listen to the whole thing. You will sit in your chair in front of your computer or your TV and just cheer. That's how good it was. He made the point, again, a point you could not make 5-10 years ago, that European culture, we share a culture, Europe and the United States, and we should be proud of that. We should protect that. There's no reason to feel guilty because your ancestors were whatever, colonizers. No, the culture, the Christian culture of Europe and the United States is something to be proud of, to fight to, maintain, to preserve. That flies in the face of everything Democrats will tell you. There's nothing to be proud of. You should be ashamed of your culture. That's what you hear. That's what you will hear from Democrats. And Marco Rubio basically just said, no, we are proud to be Western, to be Christian, to be American, to be European, and it should be preserved. And he called out the insanity of mass migration, the insanity of climate change, the climate change cult. It was so good. Here's just a quick example. I'd love to play the whole thing, but because there was just so many highlights. But here's a quick example of this just awesome speech.
We want allies who can defend themselves so that no adversary will ever be tempted to test our collective strength. This is why we do not want our allies to be shackled by guilt and shame. We want allies who are proud of their culture and of their heritage, who understand that we are heirs to the same great and noble civilization, and who together with us are willing and able to defend it. And this is why we do not want allies to rationalize the broken status quo rather than reckon with what is necessary to fix it.
A great and noble civilization. Yes, it is so good to hear an American leader. Hell, a few years ago, Barack Obama was on a world tour apologizing for all the crimes of his country. The president was apologizing for America. Well, those days are over. And again, this guy, he said he won't run for president if JD runs, and I'll be okay with that. JD Vance, president, Marco Rubio, vice president. That would be fine. But maybe JD having his fourth child, maybe he decides he doesn't want to do it anymore. Maybe he wants to go back to the private sector. This is the guy. If JD Vance takes a pass, this is the guy. If JD Vance wants to run, this is his running mate. This would be an absolutely a formidable ticket. And the best part would be the debates, because obviously JD against Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris, we've been there. We've seen that. They can't do it. They can't keep up. It would be so good to hear a president, JD Vance, or a candidate on stage going head to head with greasy Gavin. But even better would be if Rubio is the VP candidate and AOC is the vice presidential candidate. Man, what a great debate. But the Democrats, here's what they did over the weekend. They voted to shut down THS. They voted to shut down DHS, shut down TSA and the Coast Guard, give them with no pay. They want to shut down ICE, but they can't. So they vote to shut down the government. Then they get on their private jets and head to Munich, where they badmouth this country and badmouth our president. That's what they did. While Marco was giving this great speech, Democrats were talking about how awful our president is on foreign soil. And it was a clown show. We'll get to some of the highlights. But here's what everyone's laughing about today. Rubio actually talked about specific contributions Europeans made to our country, our culture. And he talked about the Scotch-Irish, and he talked about the French and the British and all the things they brought. He mentioned the Spanish being the forefathers of our cowboys. He gave the Spanish credit, and he talked about his own ancestors in Spain and said that's where our cowboy culture comes from, which obviously is correct. We wouldn't have horses in this country if not for the Spanish. Now, they may have gone to Mexico first, which is why Mexicans speak Spanish, but those are the roots of our cowboy culture. Here is Marco Rubio making that point, and then the rebuttal from hopefully his future VP opponent, AOC. Good.
Our horses, our ranches, our rodeos, the entire romance of the cowboy archetype that became synonymous with the American West. These were born in Spain.
Marco Rubio's speech was a pure appeal to Western culture. My favorite part was when he said that American cowboys came from Spain.
I thought they came from Winnetou, but
I believe the Mexicans and descendants of African enslaved peoples would like to have a word on that.
So she says it didn't come from Spain. They came from Mexico. Where do you think the Mexican cowboys came from? AOC, you dunce. This is the leader of the Democrat Party on the world stage. This was a humiliating weekend for Democrats. You had Hillary Clinton leading this contingent in Munich. Hillary, the loser, this old bitter woman. She's the face. She's the tired old face of the Democrat Party. Give me AOC. Asked AOC. And again, this is about foreign affairs, foreign policy. This is why they're there. AOC, a potential presidential candidate, is asked about the U.S., what it will do if China invades Taiwan. Now, if you're a candidate for president, you have to know this. You have to have an answer ready. This is kind of a big deal. It's been a big deal for a few years now. I guarantee you, JD Vance or Marco Rubio has an answer ready for this question. Listen to this dummy when asked about the U.S. and what it will do in regards to Taiwan. Check it out.
would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is this is, of course, a very longstanding policy of the United States. And
it goes on for 2 minutes. She can't answer it. This was not a curveball. This was a layup. What should we do about Taiwan? That's real. That makes Kamala sound presidential. She is surrounded by yes men, sycophants who are telling her she's brilliant. She's not. They're telling her she's presidential material. She's not. But please, God, I'll pray again. Put her on the ticket with Newsom or Kamala or anybody else. Andy Bashir, I don't care. I want her on the ticket. I want her on the debate stage. She is such just a vapid woman. Just absolutely. She's not up for the job. I'm sorry. She might be the leader of the resistance, but she cannot handle the big job. But that was foreign affairs. They also talked a little domestic policy, like women's rights. So here you have a contingent of Democrats, big champions of women's rights. They don't care about women who get raped by illegal aliens, but, they care about women's right to vote. They have a panel. Hillary Clinton is like the host. And who did she turn to first to talk about women's rights in America, women's rights around the world? A man. Yes, a man pretending to be a woman. Here is Hillary with Tim McBride, also known as Sarah. Go ahead.
So much for those incredibly kind words. It's an honor to be here with you, Secretary Clinton. It's an honor to be here with another trailblazer, Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. And of course, it's an honor to be here with my fellow panelists and the mayor of Boston, Michelle Wu, as well. Once politicians start naming other politicians in a room, it never stops. There is no question in the United States that after decades of historic progress on gender equality writ large, and specifically more recently on LGBTQ rights, that we are facing, as you mentioned, a well-organized, well-funded, right-wing regressive movement. And they really have placed trans people at the center of that effort, but we should be clear that the consequences of this anti-trans effort, not only out of proximity, but out of intentionality, will include consequences for women of all backgrounds. Because at the end of the day, transphobia, homophobia, misogyny, and sexism are all rooted in the same prejudice.
Oh, you go, girl. This is the message from Democrats on the world stage. So if you're just listening, there was a room, all women, as far as we know, and then one guy, this mentally ill individual pretending to be a woman. They go to him first to talk about women's rights. This is perfect because, as I've said many times, Democrats could win. They probably will win in 2026. We don't know. Maybe they'll win the House, not the Senate. But I think they could win easily if they stopped being crazy. And they can't do it. They can't help themselves. There's a panel with Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, real fresh faces, and a guy in a dress.
Don't forget Michelle Wu. She had to be shouted out.
Michelle Wu, yes. As you pay your property taxes in Massachusetts, in Boston, just keep in mind that that's what you're paying for. Michelle Wu, governor of the mayor of a small city, taking a group of her, a junket of her people to Munich to talk to this guy about women's rights. That's your tax money at work. People don't care. She knows she's never going to lose. She could be mayor for life. They don't care. She's corrupt. She's a communist, but they don't care. And she's taken a trip to Europe on your dime. But that's the Democrats representing on the world stage. Yes, we're here with a guy pretending to be a woman, talking about women's rights and trans rights. Trans rights. If they're smart, they'd be done with this. They'd move on from this. They'd tell Tim to just stay home. They're going to send, real women to this conference, but they can't help themselves, as we saw last week. I know this is old news, but this was mind-blowing to me. I was following it closely. The shooting in Canada, 18-year-old shooter Jesse Van Roostelaar killed himself after killing his mother and his 11-year-old brother. and 6 kids at a school, 5 of them aged 12 and 13. Just one of the worst mass shootings we've ever seen. It was obviously, once again, a mentally ill man pretending to be a woman under the delusion that he could change his gender. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing and hearing. Again, we're done with this. Someone tell the media. I'm looking at the CBC. The CBC out of Canada right now, a story they just posted. Police found the shooter's mother and brother dead at the home. Police said the shooter killed her family members. It's a guy. It's a man. It's a man. Sick, deranged, evil man. And maybe we should have had, been suspicious, because he was obviously sick in the head, because he thought he could become a girl. Just one day said, yeah, I'm a girl. Here's how the media covered it. I know the police spokesman we talked about respecting the pronouns of a mass murderer. These people are they're out of their minds. Here's a commentator from Canada talking, this is real, talking about how unusual it is to have a school shooter who's a female. See if you can find a flaw in this guy's analysis. Go ahead.
Attacker was dead when they found her. She had a self-inflicted wound, and she matched the description given in an earlier police alert. Female, wearing a dress with brown hair. That is extremely unusual. It's rare to have a female attacker.
That's Sky News. Not only do they identify him as a girl in a dress, but he points out how unusual it is to have a female mass murderer, a female school shooter. I got news for you, bub. It wasn't a female. It wasn't unusual at all, because it was a trans shooter, and that is frighteningly common these days. These people are sick. Imagine seeing dead kids. This is a cop. I don't know if he went to the scene. Dead kids, children, 12, 13 years old. He shot 35 people. He killed at least 10. Killed his mother, killed his brother, killed a bunch of kids at school. And they want to respect his pronouns? How crazy do you have to be? How brainwashed do you have to be to step in front of the camera, step in front of the media, and say this? This is the cop, the police spokesman.
We're not hiding it. In fact, you're the first media to ask the question. I will say this. We identified the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and in social media. I can say that Jesse was born as a biological male who approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female, both socially and
quick question. If the shooter lied about his age, would they use the fake age, the wrong age? If he lied about his ethnicity, if he lied about his race, if he said he was black and he's white, if he said he was 6'5", 250, and he was not.
If he claimed to be a cat, like a cat or a dog, you have to
identified as a cat, a furry. Would they respect that? We're not even talking about someone who just running for office like McBride. We're talking about a mass murderer, and they want to respect his pronouns. We made a lot of progress. Obviously, the trans cult, the trans movement is on the run. People are waking up. We're not going to be doing surgeries on children anymore, for the most part, or drugging kids because of the liability of the first case was won by a girl who had her breast removed by some sicko doctor. She won $2 million. That's the first of many. So doctors are running scared as well. They should. These people are evil. But you have a cop saying, yeah, he identified as a she, so we're going to respect that. While the dead bodies haven't even been buried. And this guy's talking about respecting pronouns and how unusual it is. That's an actual alleged journalist saying how unusual it is to have a female mass shooter. And he knows it's a male. And he says it anyway with a straight face. How do you recover from that? You're supposed to be a journalist, and you're looking at the audience, you're looking at the camera and lying to protect the gender identity of a mass murderer. Oh, I had to get that. I could not believe what I was seeing. I could not believe what I was hearing. All right, we got much more to get to. I want to get to the Epstein files. Yes, they dropped all the names. And who thought maybe Janis Joplin was on Epstein Island? Some of the names: Marilyn Monroe, Janis Joplin, Barbara Streisand. Some of the names that they dropped because Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna were insisting on all the names. Well, they got all the names. Bruce Springsteen, he's on the list. The list is out and it's meaningless. We'll get to some of the highlights and the ways that it has backfired on Democrats. And Barack Obama did an interview, and he said the most unbelievable thing when asked about aliens. And for some reason, the interviewer, the podcaster, never followed up. We'll play you that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
You don't always realize how bad your sheets have gotten until you finally replace them. If your sheets are piling, thinning, slipping, or overheating, that's your sign that it's time to upgrade to Boll & Branch. Boll & Branch's signature sheets are made from 100% organic cotton and designed to hold their shape, stay breathable, and feel luxuriously soft night after night. You'll fall asleep faster, stay comfortable all night, and actually notice the difference the moment you get into bed. And they don't wear out. They get softer after every wash. The fastest and simplest way to upgrade your sleep is replacing your sheets. It's a one-time upgrade that pays off every single night. No setup, no habit building, no guesswork, just noticeably better sleep. They're buttery soft from the start, get softer over time, and help you relax the moment you lie down. You'll notice the Boll & Branch difference immediately. Boll & Branch sheets are made from moments of unmatched comfort. This is sleep you don't compromise on. We got our new Boll & Branch sheets, and I can tell you, I enjoy going to bed. Didn't know I needed them, but I love my new Boll & Branch sheets. Sleep sound with Boll & Branch. Get 15% off your first order plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com/Gerry. Code word Gerry. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com/Gerry. Code word Gerry to unlock 15%. Exclusions apply. All right, we got to move. I got so much to get to. Don't even have to. We're not going to have much time for the Super Bowl, Ironhead. Let me just say, I got two things right. I predicted the MVP, Kenneth Walker, and I predicted the halftime show would be the biggest pile of steaming crap we have ever seen. That was one of the worst Super Bowls ever played and the worst halftime show. And I don't even want to debate it. It was just awful, as expected. It was awful. And I guess the NFL is just going to be captured by Jay-Z and the race hustlers on the left. And we're never going to see, a white person headline a halftime show ever again. Just not allowed. We're not going to allow it. Congratulations to TPUSA on counter programming. They got huge numbers for Kid Rock. Lee Price was great. Bad Bunny was just a disaster. The whole idea, it's still amazing that we had an act for the biggest stage in sports, the biggest stage in music, that didn't sing in English, essentially, that sang in a foreign language that nobody understood. And when it was over, the Washington Post said it was good, wholesome family entertainment. And then someone translated the lyrics of one of the songs, and it was as vulgar and obscene as you'd expect. But hey, no one understood it, so no big deal. But maybe we'll get back to that. But I got so much more I want to get to. The Pam Bondi dropped the big, what she calls the last of the Epstein files. And as expected, it backfires big time on Democrats. I get this every day. These Democrats just, they say, oh, Trump's a rapist. He raped kids. Well, we've already gone over that. The woman that claimed he raped her when she was 13 was not credible. She was mentally ill. It was thrown out of court. It wasn't even in the Epstein files. But you know what's in the Epstein files? Reid Hoffman, big Democrat donor, spent $100 million to get Democrats elected, bankrolled the Kavanaugh lie, and E. Jean Carroll's alleged rape case, which we all know she totally made up, totally not credible. He paid for all of it. He hates Trump. That fat load is in up to his eyeballs. He went everywhere. He went to the island, the New Mexico ranch, the Palm Beach mansion. Not looking good for Reid Hoffman or Catherine Rumler, a top advisor to Barack Obama, forced to resign her gig at Goldman Sachs because of her involvement with Epstein. And of course, Stacey Plaskett, the rep or delegate from the island, who not only was taking money from Epstein, had a close relationship, but she's the one who's taken orders from Epstein during a hearing live on Capitol Hill, getting texts from Epstein telling her what to ask witnesses. So it is backfiring as expected on Democrats. I'm not sure why the women, the survivors, can't just tell us the names. If they claim they were raped, abused, just tell us. If it's true, you can't be sued. Or, Ro Khanna, Massey could go to the House floor, tell us all the details. They have immunity, but they won't. Again, it's all political. They were hoping, like everything else, there was one of those things they said, we're going to get Trump this time. They didn't. I'm sorry. We eventually have to move on. I would like the women to just come out, stand there on the House step, on the Capitol Hill steps, say, here's what happened. Here's who did what to me, and go from there. But I guess we're never going to get to that point. But I want to get to Obama, but do I have time for this? I want to do this MacGyver. LaMonica MacGyver. Remember her? She's the congresswoman, an absolute embarrassment from New Jersey, who was charged with assaulting ICE agents outside a detainment facility. You could see it on tape, on video. She's assaulting the agents, and she's been charged. But this hearing last week was incredible. Todd Lyons, the ICE director, who from Boston, by the way, and he's everywhere. He does a good job. She's questioning him at a House hearing. And this is how nuts, again, the theme, Democrats can't stop being crazy. This is so insane. So she gets 5 minutes to question the ICE director, and you expect the usual stuff about, Renee Good and whatever, people, no warrants and everything else, all the other stuff they throw out there. That's not where she went. She asks the guy, literally asks him if he's going to hell. I got a question for you, MacGyver, Congresswoman. Why would Todd Lyons go to hell? Todd Lyons is overseeing an operation to arrest murderers, rapists, the worst of the worst. He is doing God's work. Hell, I think he's going to heaven. That's just me. But listen to this lunatic and how she uses her time to question Todd Lyons.
I've heard my colleagues ask many questions over and over again, and you cannot answer them. So let me ask you some questions that you may be able to answer. Mr. Lyons, do you consider yourself a religious man?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, how do you think Judgment Day will work for you with so much blood on your hands?
I'm not going to entertain that question.
Oh,
ma'am.
okay, of course not. Do you think you're going to hell, Mr. Lyons?
I'm not going to entertain.
Of course not. How many government...
The gentlelady will suspend. The gentlelady will suspend.
Chairman?
A gentlelady will suspend. As I said, the issues we're debating here are important to ones that members feel deeply about.
That's incredible. You think you're going to hell? Again, he's devoted his life to catching criminals, to catching rapists and child molesters and removing them. And she thinks for that, he's going to hell. Did she say, let me ask you? I think she did. We're not.
A couple times.
We're not sending our best. That is just humiliating. God, aren't you embarrassed, Democrats? I know we got a few listening. Don't you get embarrassed watching that, or watching Sarah McBride speak for women, or watching AOC attempt to answer a question about Taiwan? At what point do you just get so humiliated you're just done with these clowns, these fools, these court jesters? I mean, that's a congresswoman. They're supposed to be, smart. They used to be. I mean, they used to be educated and smart and literate and well-spoken. And now we have people saying, let me ask you, are you going to hell? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think I'm going to hell because, I've arrested, hundreds of rapists and child molesters. Yeah. Why wouldn't I go to hell? What a fool. What an embarrassment. People vote for that. People also voted in big numbers for Barack Obama, who is not handling the Trump era well. Let me just say that. He comes out, talks about how, Republicans are dividing us because they're mean and their politics of the division. And this is the biggest. No one divided people more than Barack Obama, the race hustler in chief. Let me remind everyone, he went to Texas after 5 cops were murdered by a BLM activist and blamed the cops. Don't forget that. I mean, he played along with all the hoaxes. Hell, he oversaw the Russia hoax. Here he is on a podcast with, what's this guy's name? Brian Tyler Cohen. Got the former president on for a extended conversation. He asks him if aliens exist, if aliens are real. This is the former president. Listen to his answer and wait for the follow-up, because I don't know. I've done a few interviews. You get an answer like this, that means you struck gold. That means you push, you probe, you keep going. For some reason, this guy, I know he's a Obama sycophant, but he doesn't push. He doesn't follow up. It is incredible. Listen to this.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the president of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Where are the aliens?
Okay, now what? Nothing. That is incredible. He just got the former president to say aliens are real. And Obama is the one that kept the topic going. Said, yeah, I want to know, are aliens real? Yeah, they are. So he was president. He asked, are aliens real? He got an answer, yes. And this guy, Brian Cohen, didn't follow it up. And then he posted it proudly. Said, listen to my conversation with
if Obama wants to see aliens, I suggest he goes to Minnesota.
I thought you could say something else, but that is incredible. So the president says aliens are real. I guess we have to wait for him to do the next, maybe he'll do The View. Maybe they'll push him on it, The View. What makes you think, how about this, Brian Cohen? What makes you think aliens are real? What convinced you aliens are real, Mr. President? I mean, was he joking? It didn't sound like he was joking. So he knows, or he thinks, aliens are real. And we don't know why. We don't know how. We don't know how he came to that conclusion. That is just mind-boggling. I got to wrap that. So none of us got the Super Bowl right, Ironhead?
I was very wrong.
You were very wrong. I predicted a close game. I predicted Seattle would win, but it'd be close. It was a terrible game. Obviously, the offensive line didn't hold up. Obviously, Drake May didn't have a great game. Obviously, the offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, didn't have a great game. And it was an awful game with awful halftime entertainment. Do you think they'll ever, in my lifetime, have a white guy, have whatever, Eric Church, Morgan Wallen, have Creed? I think they will ever allow a white guy back on stage at halftime? They used to. I mean, we've gone over it. They had the Who, they had Springsteen, they had Tom Petty. Now they're not even allowed. It's like white men need not apply.
What year was Michael Jackson?
The last white guy on stage was Eminem, but he was co-hosting with Snoop Dogg and others, and he hates Trump, so I guess maybe that qualifies. But and then Roger Goodell declares it a big success, and he hugs him and humps his leg, and it's just embarrassing that a league as powerful as the NFL just bends the knee to this race hustle even today, to this DEI Jay-Z production, Jay-Z company, and they can't stand up to him and say, no, we're going to mix it up. We're going to throw a bone to the country fans or rock and roll fans. And even if, I would say this, even if Bad Bunny was good, we're good. He was awful. It was just awful. It was awful. I can't even tell you how bad it was. I don't even understand half of it. Walking through the cornfields, and you got like
he was telling some story that we clearly couldn't follow. But I thought some of it looked cool, but I didn't know what was going on.
And the people in the stadium didn't either. If you saw some of the video people took, the fans, there was no energy.
Oh,
there
yeah,
was no
that crowd noise. That crowd noise was piped in like Indy in 2006.
Did you see the video of him singing without the electronic, the auto tune or whatever, without the enhancement? It's awful. I mean, it's just an illusion. I don't even get the whole, whatever, the trees, the weeds, the corn stalks, people doing nails and drinking coffee and sleeping, and they had the EBT accepted sign. What? They have a sign saying EBT accepted here on a halftime show on a stage. The whole thing was a disaster, but so was the game. And we were all pretty wrong about that. The Patriots hit a wall. But anyway, that will do it for today. This President's Day, happy President's Day. It's good to be back. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
This is such a, I think that this is of course a very long-standing